He promised me last time. He looked me in the eyes, swore on everything we had built together and said, "Never again." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. Because if I didn't, then what was left of us? For a while things seemed different. He came home earlier, brought me coffee in the mornings, even smiled the way he used to when we first met. I let myself breathe again. I convinced myself the late nights, the unexplained texts, the silence in the car, those were just shadows of the past. But shadows always return. It was a Tuesday night when I found it. He dropped his shirt carelessly across the chair in our bedroom, laughing about something on his phone. When he disappeared into the bathroom, I picked it up, folding it the way I always did. That's when I saw it. A smear of red near the collar. Lipstick. Bright bold, a shade I never wore. My heart slammed so hard it felt like the room spun. I pressed the fabric to my hands, the color staining my fingers like blood. My throat closed. When he came back, I didn't wait. I held up the shirt. "What is this?" He froze for half a second, long enough for me to see the truth flicker in his eyes. Then he smirked, a cruel tilt to his lips. "It's not yours." The words cut deeper than any blade. He didn't even bother to lie this time. I stood there shaking, the shirt crumpled in my fists, realizing that all the promises, all the begging and tears from the last time, meant nothing. He had cheated again. And this time he wasn't sorry. This time he was daring me to break. I couldn't breathe after those words left his mouth. "It's not yours." They echoed in my head, louder than the bathroom fan, louder than my own heartbeat. He said it so casually, like it wasn't betrayal, like it wasn't destruction, like I was just some stranger asking about a stain on a borrowed shirt. I dropped the fabric on the bed, my hands trembling. "Do you even care?" I whispered. He leaned against the doorframe, his arms crossed, his smile sharp. "Care about what? You nagging me? You searching for something to fight about?" I blinked. "This isn't nagging. This is proof." I pointed at the shirt, at the red smear glowing under the lamp. "She touched you. You let her. After everything, after you promised." He rolled his eyes. "Promises don't mean chains." My stomach turned. Chains. That's what he thought commitment was. That's what he thought I was. I sat down on the edge of the bed, my whole body shaking. My mind scrambled back through all the small signs I'd ignored, the late-night calls he answered outside, the sudden new cologne, the way his phone never left his pocket anymore. The way he kissed me less, spoke softer, kept his eyes somewhere else even when we were alone. I had chosen silence then. I had convinced myself he was tired, stressed, trying his best. I had believed his never again. And now here I was sitting with proof in my hands and he didn't even flinch. He walked over, grabbed the shirt, and tossed it in the laundry basket. "Forget it," he said. "It's just lipstick. It doesn't mean anything." "It means everything," I snapped. My voice broke in the middle, but the fury burned through the cracks. "Do you know what it does to someone, to love a person who makes you feel like you're never enough? To lie awake wondering if you're the reason they keep leaving? And when you finally let yourself believe, they throw it back in your face like this." For a second his smirk faltered. Then he shrugged. "Maybe if you were less dramatic you'd understand. Not everything's about you." That cut deeper than the lipstick. "Not everything's about me." As if expecting loyalty was selfish. As if wanting truth was asking too much. I felt the walls of the room close in. My chest heaved, my head spun, but underneath it all something else stirred. A fire I had never let myself feel before. I had begged him once. I had forgiven him once. I had lowered my voice, swallowed my pride, and carried the weight of his betrayal because I thought saving us mattered more than saving myself. But as I looked at him now, his bored eyes, his careless smirk, his body leaning so casually like nothing he did mattered, I realized something. It wasn't him breaking me. It was me allowing it. And if I let this go again, if I let his sorry or his silence bury me, I would be the one writing my own chains. I stood up slowly, my knees weak but my back straight. His eyebrows raised as if he hadn't expected me to move. "This is the last time," I said quietly. He laughed under his breath. "You've said that before." My hands clenched at my sides, nails digging into my palms until they hurt. "No," I whispered. "This time I mean it." He leaned closer, smirked back in place, his voice mocking. "We'll see." And in that moment I knew exactly what I needed to do. I didn't have a plan yet. I didn't know how or when. But I swore to myself that his next betrayal wouldn't end with me in tears. It would end with him realizing what it feels like to lose something he thought would never leave. After that night, nothing felt the same. The house became colder, quieter, as though every wall knew the truth and pressed in around me. He didn't apologize, he didn't even try. Instead, he carried on like nothing had happened, humming while he shaved in the mornings, scrolling through his phone at dinner, leaving the house without explanation. At first I thought maybe the lipstick had been a warning shot, that he would at least try to hide it better now. But within days the signs grew louder, bolder, impossible to ignore. He started coming home later, with excuses that didn't even make sense. "Traffic," he'd say when I knew the streets were clear. "Meeting," he'd mumble when his shirt smelled faintly of perfume, not coffee. Sometimes he didn't come home at all until dawn, tossing his keys on the counter with a smug grin as if daring me to question him. One Friday night he told me he was working late. I watched from the window as he climbed into his car, shirt pressed, hair styled with more care than he ever gave when we went out together. My chest tightened. Something inside me snapped. I grabbed my jacket, pulled the hood low and followed him. My hands gripped the wheel so hard I thought the skin would tear, but my eyes stayed fixed on his taillights. He drove across town, weaving through streets I didn't recognize, until he stopped in front of a dimly lit restaurant. I parked far enough back to watch him step out, adjust his collar, and without hesitation, wrap his arm around a woman waiting by the door. She was laughing, her lipstick the same shade as the stain on his shirt. He leaned down, kissed her cheek like it was the most natural thing in the world, and they walked inside together. I sat in my car frozen, my heart hammering so loud I couldn't hear the traffic. My nails dug into the steering wheel, tears burning behind my eyes. The image seared itself into my mind. His hand on her back, the easy smile he never gave me anymore, the way he looked lighter, freer, happier with her. I wanted to storm in, to scream, to drag him out by his collar and demand he face me. But I didn't. I stayed in the shadows, swallowed my rage, and watched until the lights of the restaurant blurred through my tears. When I finally drove home, the silence of the house felt unbearable. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the crown of red flowers in the vase he had bought me months ago, remembering how he had promised that time too. Never again. My stomach twisted. Promises were currency to him, cheap, disposable, worthless once spent. Hours later, he walked through the door, humming under his breath, smelling faintly of smoke and wine. He dropped his jacket on the chair and glanced at me with a smirk. "Still up?" I stared at him. My voice cracked when I spoke. "I saw you." His eyes flickered just for a second. Then he laughed, shaking his head. "You're imagining things." "I saw you," I repeated louder this time. "With her. The woman at the restaurant. The one who wears the red lipstick. The one you've been seeing." He leaned against the counter, crossed his arms and tilted his head. "So what if you did?" The floor seemed to fall out from under me. "So what?" I whispered. "You'll still be here tomorrow," he said casually, like it was a fact carved in stone. "You always are." The words stabbed deeper than his lies. He wasn't just cheating. He was confident. He believed he could break me again and again because I'd never leave. That night, lying awake in the dark, I felt the tears slide silently down my face. But beneath them, something heavier settled. Not despair this time. Resolve. He thought my silence was weakness. He thought my forgiveness was endless. He thought my fear would keep me chained. But he was wrong. I wasn't broken anymore. I was burning. And soon, he would learn that the fire he had lit inside me wasn't going out. The morning after I caught him at the restaurant, The house felt like a cage. He strolled around humming, scrolling his phone, dropping crumbs on the counter as if he owned the world. And in a way he did, he owned my silence. For years I had let him. But that silence was finished. I waited until night, when the air was heavy and still, when he was stretched on the couch with his arms slung lazily across the backrest, scrolling endlessly. I stood in the doorway, the weight of everything pressing against my ribs, and said, "We need to talk." He didn't even look up. About what? About her. His thumb froze on the screen. Slowly he turned his head, his eyes narrowed, his smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. "Still on that," he said. "You don't get tired of repeating yourself?" I stepped closer, my hands trembling but my voice steady. "No. Because this time I'm not asking for excuses. I'm not asking for lies. I'm telling you I know. And I'm done." He laughed, shaking his head, that same mocking sound I had grown to hate. "Done? Please. You've said that before. You'll cry, you'll sulk, but in the end you'll stay. You always stay." I stared at him, my heart pounding. Not this time. The words hung in the air, heavier than any scream. He blinked, the smirk faltering. I walked over to the table where I had set everything out. The shirt with the lipstick stain, the photos I'd snapped of him at the restaurant with her, the hotel receipt I had found crumpled in his jacket pocket. I spread them in front of him one by one. His eyes darted to each piece, his jaw tightening. "You went through my things," he muttered. "No," I said coldly. "I went through the lies you dropped carelessly all over this house. You didn't even bother to hide them. That's how little you thought of me." His face darkened. "So what now? You think you'll play detective and what, leave me? You won't. You don't have the courage." That was when I finally felt the fire rise all the way to my throat. My voice shook, but it was steady with rage. "You think betrayal is strength. You think breaking me makes you powerful. But it doesn't. It just proves you're nothing without someone to step on. And I won't be your floor anymore." He stood abruptly, towering over me, his voice sharp. "You won't survive without me." I met his eyes. "Watch me." I picked up the photos, the shirt, the receipts, and stuffed them into a folder I had prepared. Then I pulled my packed bag from behind the chair. His eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected preparation. He hadn't expected me to act. "You can keep your lies. You can keep your lipstick-stained shirts and your late nights. You can keep pretending you're a man when you're nothing but a shadow hiding in other people's arms," I said. My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. "But you don't get to keep me." He laughed again, but this time it was forced, uneven. "You'll come back. You always do." I shook my head. "Not this time. Because I finally realized every time I forgave you I was cheating myself. And I won't cheat myself again." His face twisted, but I didn't stay to watch it. I picked up my bag, walked to the door, and pulled it open. The night air hit me like freedom, cold and sharp but alive. Behind me, his voice rang out one last time. "You'll regret this." I turned my hand on the frame and whispered back, "No. You will." Then I closed the door. The world outside was quiet, but inside me something roared. I had walked away before, but always half-hearted, always looking back. This time I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I walked down the street, the folder under my arm, the bag on my shoulder, and with every step I felt the weight of his betrayal sliding off me like old skin. He cheated again. But this time the only thing he lost was me. And that loss would haunt him longer than lipstick ever could.